Hello everybody, today we are going to see the next topic that is nothing but Dockers. We are going to see what is Docker and what commands are used on the Docker to run the Docker. So, Docker is nothing but it is an open source platform that allows developers to build and run an application on any containers. So, you can build a container, inside that container you can run your applications using Docker. So, it is nothing but it is an open source platform. It is an open source platform which will allow us to develop any type of applications. So, what is a container? Container is nothing but these days it is a de facto standard to run any application on any platform. So, on any Microsoft applications in a microservice fashion. So, means what? Whenever you want to run an application, you build an application and in a container, and using that container you can run that application in any platform. So, what are containers? Containers are lightweight and portable, which will encapsulate all the dependencies which an application requires, like what type of libraries are required and what type of frameworks are required and what type of runtime environment is required. Those all things are encapsulated into single thing and it is made a container. So, that container will be run by the Docker, and in that container you have the application which will run. So, which makes it platform independent. It is nothing but platform agnostic, means what? It is platform independent. So, means what? This enables developer to develop any type of application across different environments, and you can develop it, you can test it and you can run it. So, that is what is the advantage of Docker. So, it is an open source platform that allows developers to build and run applications in containers. So, using container you are going to build the application and that containers are run by the Docker. So, that is what is Docker. So, what Docker consists of? It consists of three things. Firstly, it consists Docker engine, which is nothing but it is a core runtime that runs containers and manages the life cycle of the container. So, that is the engine which is going to run the containers in the which applications are there. Next, we have Docker client. It is nothing but the command line interface that interacts with the Docker engine and sends commands and requests. So, means what? Whatever tasks I want to perform using command line, that is nothing but Docker client, I can do it. Next, thirdly, we have something called Docker registry. It is a repository that stores and distributes the Docker images which are the building blocks of the containers. Docker images are nothing but the applications which are available in the Docker will be called as Docker images. So, that will be stored by the Docker registry. So, few examples are Docker Hub. So, Docker Hub is nothing but it is a repository which will be having the containers where all the public images are maintained, or cloud based private Docker registries, like we have something called Azure Container Registry. For Google, we have Google Container Registry. So, these three things makes is the Docker. So, if Docker means you should be having the Docker engine, you will be having the Docker client and you will be having the Docker registry. So, what is Docker CLI? CLI stands for command line interface. It is a tool that allows developer and system administrator to interact with the Docker engine. So, in Docker engine all the repositories, all the images will be present. So, if I want to run an application or if I want to run a container using CLI command, we will do that. So, this includes building images from Docker files, running the containers from images, managing container networks and volumes and interacting with the Docker system. So, all the tasks whichever we want to perform in the Docker, that is done by CLI command interface of the Docker. So, Docker CLI can be installed on both Linux systems and on Windows as a Docker desktop. So, next, so we are going to see basic commands which are used in the Docker. The first command is pull. So, this command will try to pull public Docker image from the Docker Hub. So, Docker Hub is nothing but it is a repository where images of images of containers are available, or applications applications which are in containers are available. So, if I want to pull those images, that is done by the Docker pull. So, how do I write this command? The syntax is Docker keyword followed by pull, whichever image you want to pull that, and any version if you have given you can give, or it will be nothing but latest. So see, if you see this example, I am creating docker pull nginx. So this is a container which is available, and latest container of that type will be pulled. So that is what I have said. This will pull the latest docker image from the docker hub. Image will be stored in our local system. Once you pull it, image will be stored in our local system. If you want to give any specific tags, which version it is, you can give. If not, it will be the latest version. If no tag is specified, it is considered as the latest version. So this is first command, pull. Next we have docker images. So we can see all the images in our local system by using the docker images command. Means what, how many images are available in your system, that I want to see, that I can do. So this will give the image ID as the output. Every image will have some ID, that image ID will be output. So how do I give this image command? Docker images -a. So it views all the images available on the local machine. If you see one example, so in my system I have only one repository, one image. So I say docker images a. So the repository name is nginx, tag is latest, image ID is available, when it is created, what size it is, those all details will be coming with the help of docker images command. Next I have run. So means what, whenever I want to run any image, we can run them as container. So I say docker run nginx. So nginx container is running on the local machine using docker engine. So this will run the image or container whichever you have, and whenever you want to stop, we will say docker stop. Because of stop, the container, running container will be stopped, and we will pass the container ID to stop the container. So how do I do that? The command is written this way, docker stop, and container ID whichever I want to pass, I will pass docker stop, and ID is passed, so this container will be stopped. So this is what run and stop. Next we have we can list out how many containers are available in our system. So docker ps is a command with -a will tell us how many images are available on my container or running on my system. If you see docker ps -a, it will give all the details. It will give the container ID, it will give what image it is, and when it is created, and what is the status, how long it has been running, on which port it is running, and what is the name. So these all details will be given by docker ps command. So that is what, this will show us the state of the container, is it running or stopped or exited. Every container will also get a container ID which is shown over here. So this is one more command. Next we have something called run. So we can run a container in the background as a daemon using -d. So -d. So when I say -d, this image will be running at the background, we will not see, but if I want to list this, that can also be done. I say docker ps -a. So when I say docker run and -d and I give the ID of that container, so it will show the output this way, only this will be shown. But if I want to know the details which container is running, then I will say docker ps -a. So when I say that, all the details again you see, container ID will be coming, then image which it is running, and then when it is created, what is the status, on which port it is running, and what is the name. So name of this container will also be popping up because of docker ps -a. Next we have executable command. We can get inside a docker container and access the terminal of the container using this exec command. So terminal of the container, if I want to access, that is done with the help of docker exe. Then it command states, which we will use interactive mode to connect to the bash shell of the container. Interactively if I want to do, then I say -it. So if I run this, it will show output where that, on which terminal this container is running, that will be shown over here. So that is what the output shows. We are accessing the shell inside the container using control D or exit command to come out of the container. If I want to come out, I will say control D and I will come out. So these are the few commands which are used in the docker to run the dockers, to run the containers, or to run the images of the containers, so that whatever an application we want to run, we can run. Thank you.